is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Fantasy Around. I am Josh Mabry, obviously. Now, my co-host Tvshka, I believe he's here. He's somewhere. He's out there in the ether. We will find him. We've sent out some trackers, but we will find him. Some PIs, a couple, and then two off-duty cops who just didn't care, and they were just willing just to be good citizens and help us find him. But in the meantime, you got me. So congratulations. With no hat. This is the first time I haven't wore a hat on this show since, well, probably ever. But you know what? We're going to keep rolling with it. But this week, everyone's just ready for the playoffs to do my best Jim Mora impression on that, which is probably terrible. But I'm going to do it anyway. But the thing is I hear some rumbling in the background. But as that's rumbling in the background, there he is.
Someone say something about playoffs.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Playoffs.
I've been hydrating.
Hydrating?
Yeah.
You good there, bud?
Yeah, playoffs, man. Fucking playoffs.
Sounds like somebody excited to be in the playoffs.
Sure.
I mean, I do have the power, but you gotta. I guess you can.
Yeah. Are you thirsty? I'm thirsty. You thirsty? I'm thirsty, man. I'm gonna drink one for you, man, because you did good this week. Your team did good.
Yeah, I did, but I don't think I'm gonna still make the playoffs. So we're in the same boat. I'm just on the outside looking in, but still acting like we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Feel better?
Yeah, man. Fuck no, dude. God damn it. Oh, is football done? We're done with this. Can we just stop?
No.
Got to keep going
because the people need our misery. That's what it is. Sometimes it's not. People don't care if you win. They'd rather you watch you as you lose, because that's what's more entertaining. Is you down on your luck, and then rather than up on the mountaintop, because people don't like gloaters. They like dwellers. Yeah. Unfortunately, in this world.
You know what they love more? They love when people just climb and clamor and rip somebody from the top. They love to see a good fall. That's what it is. We're just watching humans fall. That's all this is all about. You pick up a ball, you fall. You line up on a line of scrimmage. You throw probably one of the greatest plays of all time that's never happened. Because of penalty, you fall.
That's a weird. I don't think that's exactly what Denzel said in Remember the Titans, but I'm pretty sure he was just telling Petey to not fumble the ball.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's what he was talking about.
The way you were like, you run a mile, you drop the ball, you run a mile, you line off offsides, you run up, you pick up the ball, you run. How many meters are in a mile? 5,000.
What?
Yeah, you pick up the ball, you run every one of them. You're killing me, Tony. You're killing me.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. No, rough week for sure. Still a good weekend on the personal side. Yeah, still a good weekend. But yeah, man. It kind of sucks being out of playoff contention. Congrats to GIF. I mean, I can't lie. I was gonna say well deserved, but
you know what? He was due from what happened to him last year.
Right.
I was like
having the most points scored in the league,
and
then didn't make the playoffs.
And he was like 4-8 or something. It was ridiculous for having the most points scored in the league. So I'm like, you know what, you're due. We're gonna give you a little bit of self-confidence. That's the thing is like, why aren't me and you in the playoffs? Because we want people to stick around. We're not gonna if we dominate every year. What fun is that?
It's gonna get boring.
It's gonna be boring. So we just gave people a little self-confidence going forward. That way they just bring them back. The little bit of positive reinforcement. Where that $200 that FanDuel gives you to think you have a hope.
Oh, right. Yeah. We match. That's what we do. Yeah.
We're not going to give that much money out. By the way, we're broke as fuck.
Yeah, really. I think to sum up this year, it's like a 20-sided die. With half of the numbers being changed out for injuries. Because we had more people get injured, man, right? You got the list kind of pulled up, or we're pulling some.
Yeah, I pull it up. It says everybody. No,
Everybody. Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
no. Justin Jefferson. God bless him,
dude. Yeah. Yeah.
Just when you thought he was back, they brought him. He's that grandpa from The Simpsons, where he like comes in to the bar, takes his hat, puts it on the coat rack, turns right back around, takes his hat back, puts his coat on, walks back out the bar. That's pretty much all that Justin Jefferson was back for this week, and he's back out again. That's what happened. Justin Herbert, he was fun for once. I think he just did it just because he's tired of his team.
He's just ready to go to a new team next year. Huh?
Yeah, and as soon as he goes out, Quentin Johnston realized he can catch the ball and goes off for like 100 yards. That was fun. CJ Stroud, remember his great year he's having? Nah, screw you. Get hit in the head a lot. And then the lineman for the Jets, he apologized for knocking him out. But he's in concussion protocol. Josh Jacobs, knee injury. Dallas Goedert, hey, he came back. He didn't do shit, but it's fine. He's back. You can break your freaking, I think, this part of his arm, whatever that is. I'm no doctor. Someone can remind me. You can break that and come back in the season. Heck, apparently they've approved that Aaron Rodgers can come back after tearing his Achilles. And Amari Cooper got banged up. Everyone got banged up. But to end it on an even somber note, rest in peace to Frank Wycheck. The tight end, 52 years old, I believe.
Yep.
I'm done exactly. I mean, he was in his 50s. But he's one of the guys for the Music City Miracle.
Yep.
He was the guy who ran that way and then threw it that way. Not to bring laterals into it, still a tough subject for Tvshka here. Which it's the anniversary of that game, and Wycheck and then Travis Kelce does the lateral, and it doesn't count. But anyway. Wycheck, he unfortunately passed away. They found him unconscious, and apparently from a head injury, which is kind of crazy for a person who played football for a living, and a head injury is what unfortunately took him out. But thoughts and prayers to his family for this difficult time. But yeah, there's a lot of other everyone else is banged up.
Nico Collins went out.
Yep.
That was so good because I didn't need him. I didn't need more than 2 points from his ass.
Yeah.
Or anybody else really.
Anybody that plays the
Josh
49ers,
Jacobs, thanks, bud.
Yeah. Anybody that plays the 49ers, the whole Eagles offense, they're banged up. No, they might have played. I'm just saying they're probably banged up for the fact that they didn't score a touchdown or they didn't score a point. Oh no, they scored some field goals.
Because your boys beat that ass.
Oh yeah, I mean that was fun. That's fun there. But as far as the fantasy wise, I mean they're on the injured list.
Tutu Atwell is in concussion protocol as well. Alexander Madison, ankle. Just going through and kind of hitting some of the higher, big names. Now we're in DBs. I mean, injuries happened last year and year before. I mean, it's just football. But does it feel like it's just a lot more this year? Or is that just recency bias?
It's because it happens to our players.
Right?
It happens a lot of times where it's like, man, there's a lot of injuries. And then you realize it's to your players. And that's why you realize there's a lot of injuries. It's the same thing of like you buy this car and then realize there's a lot the same car on the highway.
Exactly.
It's kind of the same thing of like.
As soon as you drive off, you're like, everybody has this car.
Everybody has this car. It's like, and once it happens to your team, we're like, everybody's getting injured. Or it all happens in threes or something like celebrities dying. Yep. Type of thing. Like you notice a lot more when it happens to you. Of all the injuries that have happened, knock on wood, the guy that you expect to be injured has been great, except for he never got in the end zone this week, Christian McCaffrey. So kind of crazy how that happens. But if you own a 49er, congratulations. You're good.
Yeah. Except Brock Purdy didn't do as good as Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So speaking of anything else for injuries before we jump into the top 10?
Not off the top of my head. If someone in the chat wants to remind me of an injury that happened to them that means something, let me know.
Well, my butt got hurt for sure this weekend.
Pride, prejudice.
Okay, I mean, Keira Knightley?
I don't know. It's a good book. It's a good book.
Word association. What were we doing?
Keira Knightley was in it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So for top 10, oh man, let's get this song going. Yeah, top 10, baby. Overall, top 10, right? Let's kind of hit on that. Just because we really don't get to do that a whole lot. But yeah, that's not right. Oh my gosh. There we go. Debo. Like, I mean, another bomb of a game. I mean, he sucked because he didn't get 35.8 points like he did last week. He got 34 points. Like,
he's a letdown.
God, huge letdown. I mean, I'm sure he lost games with that 1.8 difference. I mean, an absolute beast of a man. I really wanted to get him this year because
man.
He's a man. Yeah. Because last year he showed a lot of promise, and you could just see like they are scheming the out of him. And in that, and then whenever we had that 3-4 game, injury where he was out, we really saw how valuable he is. So I want to put it in up there. I mean, I said it before, but Deebo Samuel needs to be in the MVP conversation. Him and Tyreek Hill. It's got to be between those two guys. Like, I know there's other people, but this guy's showing out, man. And he's doing that, so 34 points, 7 receptions, 9 targets. He only got targeted 9 times. And he got 149 yards and 1 touchdown.
They've got two home run hitters and also Ayuk on the team.
Yeah.
And Kittle. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and Kittle went off as well.
Right.
I mean, he did great. But, yeah, you know who I had him on bench? Because I had Brock Purdy because I knew that the Niners were just going to wallop. That's right. Lamar Jackson,
you go right there, bud. You still got it. Yes, you
sweet son of a bitch.
You sweet prince.
God dang it, dude. I had him the whole time. I mean, we talked about it, I think on Friday. I knew he was going to have a good game. I just thought Purdy was going to maybe have a little bit more point potential. But he doesn't have the rushing, man. 11 attempts and 70 yards rushing. I mean, I think that just really was the major difference between them. Of course, 24 completions off 43 attempts. Not the best statistical accuracy, but 316 yards and 3 tutties. Come on, man, let's go. But
and he's clutch.
Yeah, I mean, he's clutch, but the rushing really sets it off. Because as far as like with Purdy, I mean, 19 for 27, 368 yards and 2 touchdowns. So 1 touchdown less, but 2 rushes for 7 yards. I mean,
that's what sucks when you have 2 players who are in the top 3 odds of winning the MVP. It's like,
right.
And even though Lamar has been off and on as far as his consistency, but this is why Lamar is Lamar.
Yeah.
Is because at any point he can go for 70 yards, throw for 316 and 3 touchdowns, or even rush for 1 and throw for 2, and still rush for 50 yards. And you just we'll get into the top 10 quarterbacks because there's another rushing quarterback that for a team that sucks that won this week. And it's just kind of what happens when you have a rushing mobile quarterback that can just at any point go off, and you're just like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. And that's Lamar.
Yeah, and he is that guy. And I mean, I don't want to blaspheme him. Anyways, I don't want to disparage him too much. Maybe blasphemy, but
erroneous.
It's kind of like Gabe Davis as a quarterback for me, man. It's kind of like Gabe Davis as a quarterback.
You take that. You don't want to speak that devil on me, Ricky Bobby. Do not do that.
Don't you put that on me.
Don't you put that on Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, look, no. I mean, his ceiling is definitely a lot higher, or not higher. His floor is a lot higher, but it's the playability. Like, you play him, and it's a dud for a couple of weeks, and then it's like, well, matchup wise, this other guy looks better. He's like, oh, hey, I'm going to show up and have a career game. Oh, cool, great. Like, the 2 highest point total games, he's been on my bench because of the matchup, and it's a son of a bitch. It is a son of a bitch. But who else is a son of a bitch? probably for the first time in a long time, we got tight ends in the top 10, man. They
And
put
the
the
guy
T.
who hasn't done shit until they got to the Jaguars.
They put the TE in 10, right? Because Evan Ingram, good Lord, brother, 33 points, fantasy points wise, 11 receptions off of 12 targets, so really good, catch accuracy, but only 95 yards, right? But 2 tutties, right? The tutties matter.
And like I said, with tight ends,
Mhm.
you have to if you can find that gold, if you can mind it and figure it out and find the gold and strike gold with tight ends, this is how to do it. It's just tough to do. So you're going to start the ones that get the consistent targets. Evan Ingram, if you get 8 and above targets as a tight end, you're going to have this or better type of production. So,
Yeah.
the fact that it's Evan Ingram of all people who's gotten a lot of shit in the past because he just couldn't catch the ball.
Mhm.
But last week he showed a lot of promise. So this week he finally put it all together. And the fact that Trevor Lawrence, I don't know, whatever he was on, I wanted what he's having. For the fact that he couldn't feel his ankle. There ain't no way against that vaunted Browns defense. And the fact that, he was able to do what he needed to do on that is just nuts. But yeah, 2 touchdowns is pretty much the tail of the tape. And 12 targets. A tight end having 12 targets.
Yeah. I mean, that's Travis Kelce numbers. That's Mark Andrews numbers. Hadn't really been Ingram, but hey, you know what? I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Unfortunately, they lost to Cleveland, 27-31. And in another losing effort, we have London. Like, what the hell's going on, dude? Like, London in the top 10.
Is the bridge falling down?
Is this the British invasion? What is going on, dude? 29 points, man. 10 receptions, 11 targets, no touchdowns.
Who's he play for?
He plays for the Atlanta Falcons.
They throw the ball?
They did for 172 yards. Like, that's nuts. I mean, they finally were like, oh, we've got talent here. Why didn't we use them the whole time? Oh my god!
Did you see Drake London's catch?
No, I didn't get to watch a whole lot of football. What
does
little
Arthur
football I
Smith-
saw,
Does
I wanted
Arthur
to punch.
Smith realize how bad of a coach he is? Like, if you put that, if you just traded Mike McDaniel for Arthur Smith and see what he does, even with Desmond Ridder, okay, but just give Mike McDaniel that roster with Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London, and tell me what Mike McDaniel would make that team fun. They've got it.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna make any team fun. Yeah. And he's got a good thing going down there in Miami, so I don't think he's going to leave anytime soon. But
no.
Who knows though? I mean, maybe Hardball. Do you think Hardball would work in Atlanta?
The Michigan is trying so hard to keep him, but he's got one foot out the door. If he wins, if Hardball wins it this year, he's not going to be back in Michigan for sure.
Yeah, well, definitely not. And I think either way, he's out. I mean, the money, may be about the same because college coaches do get paid very well.
College players do get paid now.
Well, yeah, college players as well now. Good job with the NIL, actually getting them paid. So whenever we play, what was it? EA Sports, what was the college football game? But anyways, yeah, it was like player number 19.
Yeah, they actually have names on it.
But with him though, I mean, there's just so much more opportunity. And also at the same time, the organization kind of threw him under the bus. Like, why was he the only person suspended kind of with that? I mean, yes, he is the head coach, but I feel like that's an organizational thing. You know what's also organizational thing? Apparently, because now we just got in with our second wide receiver in the top 10. We got our second tight end in the top tight end 10. And this is another guy that I've had a love-hate relationship with, right? Njoku, dude, 27 points, 6 receptions, 8 targets, not a whole lot, 91 yards and 2 touchdowns, man.
So David Njoku has burned you in the past?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you didn't know? Oh, you didn't know that. Have you seen his? Let's see. Week 1, 9 points. Week 2, 10 points. 3-9, 4-7.
No, I'm
7,
with you.
7, 8.
I was doing
10,
a pun on
8,
the fact
8,
that he
9-9, 9. Oh, sorry. No, that's average. Sorry, I was looking at the projected. My bad. Let me read the real numbers. 4, 6, 6, 5, and then all of a sudden, 3. But I mean, he did. There was a run. He actually did pretty good with a 10, 17, 12, 11, 12, 11. But then 27. I mean, it's just like, God dang it, dude.
So are you telling me that someone lit a fire under his face? I mean, ass, and then he like took off?
I like it. I like that.
Yeah, I'm using because he's on fire right now.
You're on the board.
All the burn puns that I can think of, because if you don't know, now you do, because he burned himself in the fire.
Yeah, well,
thankfully, he's good.
We'll put out a burn notice.
We can joke. There it is. Air 5 through the camera. Yeah.
Yeah. Put out an air notice, burn notice. But I mean, he's still available. I mean, I feel like he's pick upable now. Cleveland is kind of rolling for some reason with Flacco. I mean, maybe you don't need a flashy quarterback that likes to flash massage, individuals, but maybe you just need a steady old ass white dude, right? To just throw the ball where you need it in a timely fashion. I mean, he's on the waiver wire. So if you're in the playoffs and none of us on the screen are, you may want to pick that mother up.
Get him while he's hot, boys. Get him while he's hot.
Yep. Well, you know what else is hot? And somebody picked them up right before I did and used him against me. And honestly, kind of made all the difference.
Yeah.
Your former boy.
He's still got some left in the tank.
He does. Ezekiel Elliott still eats, man. 27 points, 22 attempts. Did anybody else touch the ball? Like, I mean, that's pretty high for, this year. That's pretty high for a running back. But 22 attempts, 68 yards. But the big thing is, I mean, he got 72 yards on the passing game and a touchdown, right? Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, you know him more than anybody else. Anything on this?
I mean, he's on that Toby Keith tour of he's not as good as he once was, but he's as good as once as he ever was.
Like that.
At this point. Shout out to Toby Keith. He's got some cancer. Hopefully he gets better, but still.
I didn't know that, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got either
Oklahoma boy, too.
Yeah, brain or throat, something like that. Somewhere around there. I don't know. He's got some form of cancer.
Dude,
but
yeah. I mean, no cancer is good, but as a musician and singer, throat, is devastating for their career. Yeah. I mean, brain is as well.
Yeah, but yeah, he's got some, unfortunately, but still shout out to Toby Keith. But yeah, no, I think it's just what happens sometimes. It's like, man, where has that been? Well, Kobe went off for like 60 his like last game, right? Jeter had a really good, but the rest of the season, you can still tell that they get up for certain points. Yep. This was him. Like, he's still playing for he shows that he's still good for a next contract type of thing. So, plus, I mean, their team is just like fuck it, just give it to Zeke, just let him run. Kind of what they did with Cam Akers last year with the Rams. Like, screw it, our season's done, just give it to him.
It's also what the Bills did with James Cook, who's not in the top 10, but is in the top 10 with running backs. And Elliott plays the Chiefs next weekend. And I hate to say it, but he's probably gonna get you 15 points. I mean, I think if as long as they keep doing that, I mean, keep the ball out of Mac Jones' hands, and you're gonna do all right. Apparently, they're in New England. But anyways, yeah. So let's kind of speed this up a little bit because we are 24 minutes, and we appreciate everybody that's watching right now.
Yeah.
Let's know in the chats where you at. We haven't seen any chats.
Are you in the playoffs? Or you're not in the playoffs? Do you give a shit? Tell us what you think about Kadarius Toney, because no one cares on this show.
Do you hate referees too?
Or appreciate them for making the right call, even though it was an egregious moment?
No, they fucked up a lot of shit that day. That's the thing that gets the headline. Just like
Kadarius Toney, they are habitual line steppers.
Yep. All right. Anyways, next. Wide receiver, Moore, man. DJ Moore, 27 points, 3 attempts on rushing, and 20 yards, and a tutty. I didn't really get to watch a whole lot of football this weekend. But it sounds like he had a pretty good maybe end around reverse or something for a touchdown. But he also had 6 catches off of 10 targets for 68 yards and another tutty, man. Your boy, Fields. I know you got him. Did you play him? And how you feeling about that? How you fielding?
I gotta double check. Oh, I did. Hey, how about that?
Whoa.
Yeah. Because Trevor Lawrence was hurt, so I wasn't gonna risk it for the biscuit on that one, especially with the possible playoffs on the line. I wasn't gonna do that. So it worked out. I mean, this is what I expected from Justin Fields all damn season. He just happened to be on a terrible team. But this is what happens that you saw when Justin Fields is on the field. DJ Moore does well. I think if you go back to watch when they actually let Justin Fields sling the thing, DJ Moore does really well. I think this is like his 3rd or 4th week, especially being as far as the Bears ineptitude are concerned. Especially that first, I think it was Big Cat. Shout out to Big Cat on at Barstool and part of my take. He's a big Bears fan. He goes, if you just discount the first 4 weeks, the Bears are a pretty good team, even though they still only have like 4 wins. But still, it's like they've been competitive and at least been there. But that's the thing with the NFL. But yeah, DJ Moore. Hey, guess what? He's a good receiver.
Yeah, he's a good receiver. You talk about the first 4 weeks. Week 1, 4.5 points. Week 9 was 5.4. And week 8 was 9.5. Everything else is 10 points and above. Guess how many points he got in week 5 after apparently that first 4 games that was rough.
Oh, week 5 he had like 60.
49.
Oh, okay.
49 points. Yeah. I mean,
he had like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns or something like that. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely insane. Off of 10 targets, 8 receptions, 230 yards. And then 3 touchdowns. Like, that is nuts. That's bananas. That's BANA motherfucking S. But yeah, I mean, so congrats to him, man. And congrats to Jason L for having that guy. Of course, more coming from Carolina, so Jason's a big fan of him probably, and just knows how good of a player he is. So, but yeah, another player that actually showed up. I didn't expect it for this weekend. Yep, easy to get it. Breece Hall, man, coming 27 points off of 10 attempts for 40 yards. He also had 8 receptions for 9 targets, 86 yards with 1 tutty. Good game for the Jets, really.
Yeah, this was the game this was the type of team with Aaron Rodgers that we were expecting throughout the season, of just going out, and this is the kind of game that we expect from the Texans at the beginning of the season. So it's kind of like, really, we're at week 14 and these two teams finally play like we're expecting them to play,
right?
Rather than the opposite of like CJ Stroud and Tank. Apparently, Tank Dell means a lot to the team because they were just out of whack. Granted, Nico Collins going out.
Nico got injured like the first quarter.
Yeah.
And they didn't rule him out until the 3rd. Right. Whenever I saw my notifications and it was like, oh, his status changed from questionable. I'm like, to health. Oh, out. Okay, cool. That's on brand. Whenever your 2 best receivers, sorry about that. Whenever your 2 best receivers get out, I mean, that's never really good. And then when your quarterback gets a concussion, I mean, it's just absolutely rough. But hey, you know what? A broken clock is right twice a day. And so
finds a nut.
Yep, and that's where the Jets showed out, and I'm happy for it. I mean, as far as with the output that I got from Garrett Wilson, wasn't enough, but anyways, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What was enough? Actually, it wasn't enough for the win. In reality, it was enough for 26 points, but Ritter, bud,
he's gonna be a great backup to someone someday.
Right? Yeah. They needed to figure out the quarterback situation there. But I mean, he had a good game, 26 points. He actually did have 4 rushing attempts for 15 yards with a touchdown. 26 for 40. So not the best statistically, but 347 yards, 1 touchdown. Of course, we saw the output that London put with 172 yards of that 347. But yeah, losing effort to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that. Anything on Ritter that you kind of thinking?
He's fine. Don't pick him up. Next question. I mean,
Yeah.
not to spend up too much time on him, but like,
Yeah.
just we'll move. Good for you, buddy.
Yeah,
Good
exactly.
for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And rounding out the top 10, he is who we thought he was. Cooper Kupp. Cooper Cup of Coffee getting 26 points for you, lucky ass. Yeah, even though it was a losing effort to Baltimore, which I mean that may have been one of the games of the season.
That game was fun.
I'm gonna rewatch it.
That game was fun.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the whole game, but I kind of was getting a little bit of highlight stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna rewatch that for sure this week, maybe tonight. But yeah, Cooper Kupp, 8 receptions off 10 targets, 115 yards, 1 touchdown. Doesn't really scream out at you like big game. I mean, for Kupp, that's, but I mean, it just, when you got to get that touchdown, and that's really what makes it. I mean, he still would have got 20 points off of that, but no, man. I mean, solid effort. Good to see him back. I mean, is he back to form? I mean, is this the big push they're going to do at the end of the year?
If they get in the playoffs, they are going to be dangerous. Yeah. To me, if they get in the playoffs, this is probably the best coaching job that Sean McVay has ever done with this team and this squad and dealing with the injuries. Right. You're telling me you took a squad with Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, who basically can't feel his legs at this point because he's got nerve situations going on with his hamstring and all that stuff. You've got Matthew Stafford, who was 80 at this point. Their whole defense is just shot, except for Aaron Donald's on his, like, they're kind of old. They have no draft picks. They have Tutu, Puka Hakuna Matata, who's balling out. But my mom kept saying that she calls him Hakuna Matata, and I'm like, I don't know if that's racist or not, but still.
Yeah, I mean a little bit.
That's what, I don't know, but he's Puka Nakupa Cup. I always liked that nickname for him because when he was out, whatever. That Hawaiian's a badass.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I was gonna say Moana reference would be more appropriate.
Right. That Samoan's a badass. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Mormon. He went to BYU, if you want to put it that way. But anyway, no. What Sean McVay has done, this team being this competitive so late in the season with all the crap that they start out, like how they started and stuff like that. Like, there's a difference between the team that the Chargers have and where they're at, and good coaching with the Rams on that. So, but this was definitely one of the games, the top 5 games of the year. That I can remember. The Dallas Eagles game at the Eagles was definitely in that ballpark. I can't think of other games off the top of my head, but those 2 games obviously stick out to me. But this game was fun. Obviously,
Miami Buffalo last week.
Yeah,
that went to overtime. That was a great game.
Yeah, the Buffalo Eagles. It came down to like a field goal. That was a fun one. There, but yeah, this one, obviously being a big Lamar supporter, I was still on the edge of my seat because obviously I want the Ravens to do well, as a Lamar guy. But I was so pissed, especially the Ravens being a top 5 defense, and just Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp just like they went up by 3, got the 2-point conversion, which was a hell of a play by Lamar to get that 2-point conversion and throw the 20-yard. I mean, all the turn of events, so you thought the Ravens were out of it, and Lamar somehow figured it out, throw to Zay Flowers twice, and just made amazing plays. And then for Matthew Stafford, he's like, I still got it. And just like 2 plays down the field, there you go, field goal range. Yeah. And then for them to do, like, just all this craziness that happened in that game is what makes football fun.
Yeah. And that's what people want to watch. They want to see the players play. They don't want to see referees calling bullshit calls on technicalities and ruining the fucking game. Let him play. Shove the whistle up your ass.
Yeah, and they want to see teams that earned it, and not that you thought would be the better. Oh wait, we're not. That was last week's episode. Never mind. We'll move on. We'll move on.
Sorry, I thought you were combating to me. Okay, yeah, last week. But But yeah, no, I mean, absolute shootout.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch too much of it, but I mean, I can't help but think of the Rams, not with Stafford, but with
Jared, that's still
Jared
a
Goff.
classic game. It's like one of
Dude,
the best shootouts.
55 to something. I mean, absolutely insane. I mean, it was a shootout. I don't even know if the defense even got on the field.
No, they didn't.
Because it was just back and forth. It was fun as hell to watch, even though we lost. But yeah, this one, I mean, just really had those kind of high stakes. And I mean, the Rams, I mean, they're scoring again. So this week 31, last week 36, the week before that 37. I mean, so kind of a little bit downward trend, but they're back. I mean, it kind of feels like they're a little bit back, right? So, I mean, you feel good with Puka, you feel good with Cup. I mean, Tutu Atwell. I mean, holy shit. I mean, he actually, kind of showing up there. Yeah, no, man, it was a good showing, good match. I don't know, man. Maybe me and you need to rewatch some games and do a little bit of reactions or something. But
a little bit of a Manning cast.
Yeah, right.
Esque words.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
Manning
we wouldn't be able to put it on YouTube or do anything live because I mean, as far as we wouldn't be able to show it. Right. But yeah. So that rounds up the overall top 10. I mean, I know it's a long way to get there. I really just wanted to kind of like take a little bit of time, just kind of hit that because for one, I did not have any time at all to prep, so it helped me out. But it also really shows that this week was, I mean, pretty evenly spread. I mean, you did have a couple of tight ends in the top 5, which is crazy, but awesome though. I mean, good for the tighties. But then I mean, you had some of the quarterbacks, you got some of the surprises. Because that may not always show up in the individual top 10. So just kind of run through it. Going back to the quarterbacks, you had Jackson, with 33. You had Ritter with 26. Fields with 25 because we didn't get to him. Browning with 25, who is still available on the waivers, and I feel like he should be a pickup right now. And you know what? Can I pick up players even though I'm not in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Okay.
There technically is a consolation tournament.
Okay. I'm still picking up people, dude. I'm gonna take all your motherfuckers players, dude. Yeah. You can have all my shitty guys.
Our goal is to not finish in last.
Yeah. Actually, I think my goal right now is just to like block everybody from getting good players.
I mean, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. No, but yeah, Browning.
I'm scorched earth, motherfucker.
Scorched earth. I will fuck
you up. Someone find out who that was.
Yeah. Anyways, you know what? Who fucked up? Stafford, man, 24 points. My dude Purdy, 22 points. Still a good showing. I mean, I was happy for it. 33 points just would have been a lot better. And we'll get to league scores and we'll see why. Zappy. I mean, is this real? I mean, are we sticking with Zappy? No? Okay. I mean, is it just because it was Pittsburgh?
I mean, as much as I love my Western brethren, because he's a Western Kentucky grad. No, it's the Patriots. The Pittsburgh Steelers, if there was a committee to vote on who would make the playoffs, they would be left out even if they had a good record. They're frauds.
But their quarterback got injured.
Their quarterback's hurt. They have a backup quarterback.
Just squeezing every little bit. Yeah. But yeah, that's Zappy. Trubisky. Speaking of that
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's a backup quarterback.
So don't pick up Trubisky.
Yeah.
Weird.
That's why the Bengals can't make the playoffs because it's backup quarterback. They suck.
Yeah. But Trubisky, though, actually showing up, 22 points. He had 22 of 35 for 190 yards and 1 touchdown. Really not too, as far as the passing game, really nothing to, kind of write home for, but 8 rushing attempts for 30 yards and 1 touchdown. So that kind of made the difference. And it was enough to tie, for 22 points with Josh Allen, who did have a good first half, terrible second half. And it did look like that they were going to be the Buffalo Bills of old, where they just kind of buckle under the pressure. But they actually they played well, and they didn't get penalties called on them. But Josh Allen coming in 10 points, 22 points, off of 10 rushing attempts, 32 yards, 1 touchdown. I was really pissed as a Diggs fan for that because he also had 23 attempts, 23 completions, 42 attempts, 233 yards, and 1 touchdown, and none of those went to Diggs. But then also Flacco, right? So we've mentioned him a couple times. 21 points, rounding off the top 10. Is he a viable candidate now? 17 points last week, 21 points this week. If somebody just had their player go into concussion protocol, or if they may have a little bit of issues in the quarterback room, is he a viable option? He's playing Chicago, right?
I mean, some say he's elite, depending on who you ask. That's a running joke.
I mean, elite is
that's a running
such
joke,
a strong
by the way. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an elite pocket passer at like 48 years old, right?
He's a game manager.
There was a couple of balls a couple of interceptions were so egregious and so bad. I'm like, oh my God. And then, but I think the Jags are just they are backpedaling right now. I don't. I think, and you said who the Browns play next week?
Oh shoot, sorry. I already clicked off of him. They're playing the Bears. Yep.
The Bears are playing solid.
Defense wise,
yes.
Okay.
So we will really see, like, if you have no other option, sure, take a stab at Flacco. Might as well. Especially if Amari Cooper's playing, take a stab. He's been on the team for 0.5 seconds, as we see. Josh Dobbs, it was cool while it lasted. It sucks now. So it's gonna be the same thing with Flacco. The Bears are playing good defense. If there's a better option out there, Jake Browning would be the one that I would probably throw in there.
Yeah,
I would take Jake Browning all day, every day, hands down, with way better weapons than a Joe Flacco who just got on the team.
And I mean, if you watch the guy play, I mean, he looks good. I mean, he passes the eye test.
If I own Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, I am excited.
Yep. Except this week, because Jamar Chase didn't do great, but we'll get to him. Running backs, top 10. We're at 43 minutes, so let's run through these. Yeah, and it's me, guys. So I mean, just I've had a week. Okay, I've had a fucking week. No, I'm just kidding. These are from last. But anyways,
it was a bit, guys. Okay,
it was a bit. The only 3 I drank was the ones you saw me open. But here we go. Running backs. Top of the charts, Ezekiel Elliott.
What
is this 2015?
Yeah, I was going to say 2015, 16? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, 27 points, 22 attempts, 68 yards. But the big thing is the pass game. We got the touchdown and 72 yards. Not like an insane amount of high output, but I mean, it's definitely enough. I mean, the rushing and the passing game. Same for Breece Hall, coming in second place, or number 2 in the top 10. 27 points, 10 attempts for 40 yards. But had 8 receptions, 86 yards, and a touchdown. And same goes for James Cook, who absolutely wrecked the Chiefs' defense. And it may just be kind of like the unsung hero, really. I mean, because I know like the spotlight is going to be put on Mahomes' words and just that whole situation, which is messy. We can get into that later. But Cook really was the key to their victory because yards after contact, I mean, he was just every time he was just ripping us for 10, 15, 20 yards. And that showed because he got 25 fantasy points. Saquon Barkley going against Green Bay, getting 23 points, 20 rushing attempts off 86 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then Mostert, or AKA Must Start, 23 points for Jason L there. 21 attempts for 96 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Rashad White, bud. How do you feel about this guy? Huh?
I should have started him a lot earlier in the year.
Yeah,
He's been my best running back. Clearly my best
really
running back, and I hardly played him. And he's just been solid pretty much since week 3 on. Like, it's just ridiculous on what he's done all year. I mean, he's literally like from week 7 on, he's done 15, 17, 27, 17, 17, 13, 19, 21.
Guess where he is at on the year.
8?
Nope.
Higher?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's number 4.
Up on 4. Okay. Yeah.
You know who is higher than him? Must Start, ETN,
Right.
and McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I mean, like, your boy is in must start territory.
Yeah. This is the times where, you know, my president has to sit down with me and be like, "What the hell are you doing?" You know, and these are the things that we have to discuss in the off season. But the thing is, I feel like I'm Sean McVay right now. You know, we won the Super Bowl last year, and we know that I have.
Did you win the Super Bowl last year?
Yeah,
Sean McVay.
Yeah,
Sean McVay.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying Sean McVay won the Super Bowl, and next year he didn't make the playoffs. That's my point.
Okay. Oh, God. Sorry. Well, no, speaking of your president, by the way, shout out, Soul. Enjoy your vacation. For everybody that's watching right now, all one of you, which I believe is me. You know, it's messy because we don't have the matriarch in the building, keeping us in line. So, anyways, we're going to keep messing on. But yeah, no, Rashad White, killing it. And is definitely, I mean, I feel like must start at this point. You talked about, some of the, well, there we go. You talked about some of it. I mean, 6.7, but everything else is 10 and above. And you've got a 27-point finish. You got a 21, you got a 21. But on average, like 14, 15 points? Like, yeah. Definitely a viable candidate there. But after White is Mixon for this week's top 10. 22 points, 21 carries, 79 yards, 1 touchdown. And then you have Eckler, right? So still back in there. 21 points, 10 attempts. It's 10. I mean, it did it on this one because of the passing opportunity, but it just 10 attempts seems a little light. But 51 yards, 1 touchdown. But then he had 5 receptions for 49 yards. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 9 is Robinson. Brian Robinson. No, I'm just kidding. It's your boy. It's your boy Bijan, man. Tell me you played him at least, right?
Yeah, I played Bijan.
Yeah. Even though they were pass heavy this week, he still got 20 attempts. 20 points, 10 attempts, 34 yards, and 1 touchdown. Also got a little bit 50 yards in the passing game. But then this guy Chase Brown, right? You have Jamar Chase, you got Chase Brown for the Bengals.
It was his first touchdown in his career.
Yeah, first career touchdown, 23 years of age. He's a rookie. And I think we're going to see a lot more of him.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not like every game, but I mean, showing up 19.5 points. I mean, rounding up to 20. But I mean, he had 8 attempts for 25 yards. But the thing was, he had 3 receptions for 80 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean,
that one was a long one too.
He broke that off.
Yeah. Shout out to the Cincinnati Bengals. You have a quarterback in the top 10. You have 2 running backs in the top 10. I'm pretty sure when we flip it over, you might have, no, probably not, but still, you had a pretty good week if you were a Bengal, except for Jamar Chase.
Yeah, man. And I was glad because I went against Jamar Chase. Unfortunately, I wasn't glad enough to get the win. Wide receivers. I mean, good God, Deebo Samuel, 34 points. We were talking about him. London, 29 points. Moore, 27 points. Kupp, 26. Hopkins, Tennessee, getting back in the mix, my dude. 25 points. Then you also had Reed at 21 points. My dude, Garrett Wilson at 20. I was happy to see that. Wish just would have saw a lot more from everybody else. Zay Flowers, right? I mean, rookie sensation showing up, 20 points. And Odell Beckham, 20 points. I did pick him up. I dropped him for Clyde Edwards-Helaire because I just wanted to see. Like, if Clyde went off, then I was like, okay, cool, I'll keep him. Because I do feel like Pacheco may be a little bit longer of an injury. Maybe not season ending, but it may be a few weeks. But then Odell Beckham 20, and then Michael Pittman, man, 20 points. Anything wide receivers sticking out to you?
I'm surprised to see CeeDee Lamb not in there. I think he was, and then Monday night happened. But if you are a CeeDee Lamb or a Dak Prescott owner, you are solid for the rest of the season, at least when they play at home.
CeeDee Lamb just outside the top 20. He was top 10. He was at 11, 19 points, 6 receptions for 71 yards and a touchdown.
Because if CeeDee Lamb, if you have CeeDee Lamb or Dak Prescott, you're fine for the rest of the season, even though they do have a kind of a murderous row of teams that they're playing. But they score on average 30 points or more at home. So if it's a home game, start them, especially their kicker. Jesus Christ.
Is Meyer, or who do you guys have as kicker?
Aubrey. He kicked a 60, a 50, like a 49, a 50, a 59, a 60. It was ridiculous. If he wasn't the top kicker, I don't know. Yeah, he scored 22 points. It's ridiculous. Excuse
Crazy.
me.
Yeah. Well, speaking of kickers, tight ends.
Yeah, right?
Evan Ingram, 33 points. Njoku, 27. Isaiah Likely, 19 points, still on the waiver. I really thought about putting him in over Kincaid because Knox had came back. I definitely have my answer as far as who I'm going to target. Henry getting in there at 19 points. Kittle, 17 points. So getting 76 yards and 1 touchdown. But I mean, that's a good weekend for him, especially last year. He was really kind of hit or miss. This year, though, he's been a lot more consistent. Allen coming at 15 points. Pitts at 15 points. Kelsey at 14. Even though he should have got a little more yardage and maybe like a passing touchdown to Tony. Ferguson getting 12. And Cole Kmet, formerly on the waiver wire for most of the year, getting picked up by you. 12 points, man. Yeah. Anything tight ends going to stick out?
Again, I mean,
drop everything for Ingram. Is that what you're saying?
If you get the target, you'll be fine. If you don't get the target, you better get touchdowns. It's the same thing, different day.
Yep.
If you get to seven plus targets, you'll be fine. If you don't get 7 plus targets, you better have the touchdowns. Hence, Hunter Henry, 3 targets, 2 touchdowns. 5 targets, 1 touchdown. 5 targets, 1 touchdown. 6 targets, pretty good, 1 touchdown. Kyle Pitts, hey, you actually exist. Congratulations. But then the other guys, 10 targets, 83, 8 targets, 72, 7 targets, 66, top 10.
Yep.
It's all about the targets when it comes to tight ends. Or if you don't get targets, you better strike gold. So.
Yeah. And you talk about targets, I mean, going back to Ingram, I mean, 12 targets, man.
Yeah.
We'll see what's next year. It just feels like maybe this one was situational.
Yeah, it's situational unless you're the top dogs that we've talked about. I mean, Mark Andrews would always be great just because that is his number 1 receiver. That is Travis Kelce's. That's Lamar's number 1 receiver. That's Travis Kelce's number 1 receiver. Would it have helped Lamar be better this year? Yeah, Mark Andrews has not been healthy the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
And how inconsistent has Lamar been?
Yeah.
That has something to do with it. Is when your number 1 guy is down, it's hard to make up for it. I mean, yes, and Travis Kelce being banged up this year.
Yeah, and kind of to that a little bit. I mean, I don't know if it's cliche or not, but like, I just wonder if there's distractions. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, he's been in so many commercials. It's a new element in his life, and it just doesn't seem like he's handling it that well. Because even in training camp, he was really chippy with a lot of the defensive players. but the defensive players at that time were having a big emphasis on punching the ball out.
I think Kelsey is one
Yeah.
foot out the door, unfortunately. I think he brought it up before the season started.
I mean, they brought it up last year because both
Yeah.
him and Jason talked about how hurt and banged up they've been.
Yeah, because I mean, I think this is Jason's last year, and
Yeah.
I mean, they're both around our age. So
Yeah, I know, right? I'm out too. I'm out, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I retired since I was born.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I realized I was Caucasian and 5'8", I realized I'm probably not going to make it in the NFL, even though a bunch of other 5'8" white dudes have made it. I'm just not.
Yeah, I played football in high school, and then when everybody else kept growing and I didn't, I was like,
Right.
I'm out.
I am not athletic like Julian Edelman,
Yeah.
so therefore I am not going to be playing football anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with art and debate.
Yeah,
and music.
I picked up. I studied sports statistics and picked up golf. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Well, you know what? Who also studies statistics and kicks the ball like a golf ball? It's your boy Aubrey, man. 22 points.
Yeah.
May not be the highest we've seen this year. We definitely need to do a little stats and kind of figure out some, end of year awards and such. But
yeah,
22 points, absolutely incredible. Zierlein
Greg the Leg
with the Jets, 17 legs. Have a risk with the Rams, 13.
That's racist.
Tucker.
Okay, that's not.
No, I just don't know how to pronounce them, man. Sorry. Tucker, 12 points. McLaughlin, 11. McPherson, 10. Elliott, 10. Santos, 10. Carlos, 10. And, oh, my God, Hopkins, the wide receivers, and kicking the balls at 9 points. That's crazy. And I make a joke about the, Zierlein and Havrisik because they've never been in the top 10. As far as I can remember. So, Houston and Baltimore, Jets and Ravens. I mean, are they here to stay, or is this just a fluke?
No, Greg the Leg is Greg the Leg for a reason. Justin Tucker is arguably the greatest kicker of all time, so therefore, they're going to be up there. Aubrey, who is a rookie, and his story is pretty crazy. If you actually go back and look at it, but what I've been saying the whole time, when they kick in a dome, it works out. The dude, they just lined up sometime in the first quarter, second quarter, and they're like, yeah, he's good for 60. Dude would have been good for 64 on that kick. But that's what happens when you kick in a dome. Or you have Greg the Leg, who's awesome, or Justin Tucker, who can kick in the elements and still be great. Now, Justin Tucker kicked a 66. He owns the record for the 66-yard field goal, jump off the goalpost and went win the uprights. You know where he kicked it at? Detroit. Guess what that is? A dome.
Oh,
okay.
So
the long field goals that get you more points happen in domes. That's all I have to say about kickers.
Yeah. Well, and especially in the wintertime,
Yes.
I mean, it's just kind of common sense. You look at it, the ball's going to be harder in the winter because of constriction, and, you got the elements to really mess with. I mean, for the Baltimore game, I mean, they thought it was going to be a lot worse of an effect as far as the weather.
That elements were tough, and Justin Tucker still did that.
Yeah,
that's why he's the GOAT.
Tucker and Havris.
Yes,
sorry, because I mean he's 1 point above Tucker. With that Rams and Baltimore game. I mean, again, just another element to that storyline, but also just kind of I don't know, just the incredibleness of that game. Again, I'm excited to rewatch it, man. Or actually, we just watched the whole thing for full time. But anyways, we're at 59 minutes. Anything else on kickers, or can we punt this one?
We can punt it to even go to the wild card if you want. We don't have to do
let's do it because defense. New Orleans 24, the Vikings 21, Broncos 16, Bears 15 points, Cowboys 14, Dolphins 13. I mean, New Orleans are they legit? I mean, they're the top one. They've gotten to the 20s a few times this year. Would you pick them up or not?
Who do they play? Do they play one of their divisionals?
Oh, dude, right? Yeah, they're weak-ass divisional. They got the Giants, Rams, Buccaneers, and then the Falcons to end.
Yes.
Okay. Just for the last two or for all four?
I mean, Tommy DeVito is playing pretty damn well. I'm not gonna lie. They just won tonight against the Packers, but I mean, he's playing well. I don't think he was a joke anymore. I think Tommy DeVito is actually playing well now. Ride the wave, kid, because it could come crashing. But right now, Tommy DeVito is playing some pretty good ball, and I think that just goes to the fact that Daboll's a good coach. At the end of the day, I just think that it goes to that and whatever they're doing, because I think Wink Martindale is a very good defensive coordinator. So as long as the defense keep in the game, I think Daboll can carve it up. So again, Tommy DeVito is just a fun story that you can go off of.
Yeah, no, I mean, it really is. I mean, even though it's like cliche and it's gimmicky as far as the celebration, dude, it's working. Like whatever juice it's giving that team, like they actually just feel like they have life. And honestly, that's a lot for a team. You look at the Chiefs, which is the conference of that right now. You've got frustration. You've got probably locker room issues now. And you've got public issues. And you've got so much exposure. I mean, that's why Hard Knocks really ruins a lot of teams because they just can't kind of handle that.
The Dolphins just lost to the Titans tonight. And they're on Hard Knocks.
I mean, we'll see what this week's episode kind of what that looks like. But yeah, I mean, they're New York's doing it, man, and they're kind of doing it well. Heard? Yeah. What you got for us this week, man? What you got prepared?
Well, the wild card is playoffs.
Playoffs?
We're not in the playoffs, but other people are. But if you're not, don't be that guy, girl, person, entity.
Okay.
All right? Don't be that person.
Meaning what? Like the person that...
Don't collude.
Like takes all the good players from the people that are actually in the playoffs?
No. Play like you're the number one seed in the playoffs. Don't be the person that gives up. Don't be the person that stops. Be the best consolation player you ever can. You will beat the crap out of the person who takes last place.
Yep.
Right? Because you paid good hard time and effort, much less money for some leagues.
Yeah. Yeah, ours we didn't pay shit.
Right. But you put time and effort into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if you made the playoffs, be on your P's and Q's. Do not tilt. It's the last thing you do. This is where people overcompensate.
Dude, I started tilting, so you're telling me to stop?
No, we're not in the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about you do what you gotta do.
I've been tilting since week 1, bro.
Yeah. Well, where have you been? You've been tilting since the draft. There's a difference.
I draft tilt.
You draft tilt. Right? Yeah, you're tilted tower. Shout out Fortnite. But and shout out Lego Fortnite for everybody watching. We do hard doing that.
Shout out. Maybe jumping on that tonight too.
yeah. Who knows? It's really really fun game for a children's game, but I'm not gonna lie. Anyway,
it's not a kid's game.
This is not what this game. This is not what the show's about.
What is
the show is about finishing strong and respectable, even if you didn't make the playoffs. But for the those in your playoffs, go with who drove you to the show. Who got you to the arena? Who got you to that Super Bowl? Who got you to whatever place you put up? Do not do Thelma and Louise and go full bore and go off the cliff. Spoiler alert on that movie, but it's a good movie. Go watch it.
Dude, yeah, thanks for ruining it, but okay.
If you haven't watched Thelma and Louise, I don't know what to talk about. But it's classic. Brad Pitt, one of Brad Pitt's first roles.
We talk about football.
I know, but I'm a movie reference the shit out of it. But just go with who got you there. This is where a lot of people have overthought just because they're like, well, matchups wise, I'm fine in the playoffs. This is where stuff gets tight in the anatomy situations where things get a little tighter. It's okay. Hey, guess what? You got to see the table. Enjoy it. This is what you prepared for. You've already prepared for it. If you know that this person's hurt, replace them with a good player, good matchup. If they're not hurt, Leave them there. I don't care if it's a bad matchup. If they got you to the show, let them eat. Basically, don't sit Christian McCaffrey like ever in your life.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's definitely a handful of players that you will never do that to. Okay, so kind of to this though, to kind of elaborate a little bit more and kind of dig into it. We are coming into our playoff times, but the NFL is still finishing out the season, right? They're still, some people are thinking about their playoffs. Other people are thinking about Caleb Williams, unfortunately. That schmuck and that coward who left Oklahoma. For those teams that are kind of out, statistically, the Patriots are out, even though Ezekiel Elliott showed up, right? They're playing the Chiefs. I guarantee you they would love nothing more than to just ruin the Chiefs and get them an L, right? Mm-hmm. For those teams, those players specifically for the fantasy football, is that in consideration?
No, because most of the time these teams that are tanking, these players are playing for their next contract. Okay, so it's not like an NCAA team or something like that where yes, you can lose the locker room. Yes, your team can quote unquote quit. I really haven't seen the quitters other than Carolina. Really, even after like the interim took over, because you see that. But when you're paid to do this, when you're paid to play the game, and especially when you are, unless you're like a Devontae Adams or something like that, for example, like a Raider or something, those teams. But most of the time, these guys are playing for their next contract. And so they're going to play to the last whistle. Hence why Houston didn't get the first pick last year. Like, they played to the last whistle. Now, were the owners pissed? Sure. But the owners are paying them. They're not paying them to lose. They're paying them to win. They're paying them to put a good product on the field. If they were paying them to lose, then why would you cut them? So therefore, they're also playing to audition for a new role, possibly on another team. So if you're one of those tweener players, then yeah, play them. But if they're a team, if they're a player that's like they're going to get their money either way, they're going to be back next year. Like Devontae Adams is a good example. Like, he might just say F it all, right?
Yeah.
But most of the time, these shit teams, they're going to ball out. And we have yet to wrap anything up at this point. At any point. Like, there's no number one seed locked up. The Miami Dolphins just lost, so that's a big old figuring out where the seeding is going to be. The Ravens are ahead. The Cowboys, Niners, and Eagles are all tied with the same record. So that's going to be a big old deal coming back the next 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So no team is giving up for the reasons I just stated. So it's a good thing for a fantasy football owner, knowing that you don't have to overcompensate for teams that have given up or teams that have already locked in said seeding, even if they made the playoffs, because they're still trying to get those buys based on how the new playoffs is worked out. Now, as far as once it gets later on in the season, like that week 16, like the next 2 weeks from now, there might be some more clarity, but this goes 18 weeks now. So
yeah,
next week is still status quo.
Right. Yeah. Still a lot of teams in contention. Kind of to that though, you're talking about, with the NFC, 10-3 teams, Eagles, Cowboys, 49ers. The Niners have actually beat, and get like a deja vu right now, beat the Cowboys and the Eagles. Mm-hmm. So they have that kind of top seed. Could they kind of let off the gas or let off the pedal a little bit at the end of the year?
Possibly. They haven't wrapped it up yet.
Yeah.
Now, are they the best team in all of the NFL? Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
From what we've seen. Because there's no AFC team that decides that they're the best team, even though the Ravens right now have the best record. But to me, they don't look head and shoulders like the Niners do. I think it's right now, if you're asking me who the best teams are in the NFL, it's the Niners, a whole lot of levels, and then probably the Cowboys and the Ravens. Because the Eagles still are trying, like the Eagles and the Chiefs are in the same boat of just trying to figure shit out.
Oh, I don't know if I would put the Eagles in that boat. I mean, yeah, a little bit of a slump for sure the last few weeks, but
yeah, they play. But the thing is that that's why I put the Cowboys in the Eagle. I mean, the Niners there is because they've they've beat the tar out of the Eagles the past 2 weeks.
Right, but the Niners also beat the tar out of the Cowboys.
Right, that's why I put like 50
right,
crap, and then the Cowboys. Yeah. But I think, but then you put.
But there's been plenty of playoff teams and plenty of Super Bowl champions that got the tar kicked out of them by somebody else in the regular season.
Oh, for sure. But I'm just saying, like
I wouldn't be so quick to disregard the Eagles. But
I'm not disregarding them. I'm just saying that the Eagles and the Chiefs are trying to just right the ship. They can because they're that good of. They're both in the Super Bowl last year for a reason, and I'm not counting them out. I'm just saying for where they are in the tier, they need to figure their shit out, and I know they can. That's where they are right now. And then you have the Dolphins, which dropped one to the Titans, who I don't know, at home. They're having some injury. Like Tyreek went out most of the game, so that's what happened tonight. But Tua, again, is just trying to show that Tua's, unless he has, it's kind of with Brock Purdy. Unless he has his weapons, it's tough. He can't just be Superman like a Lamar or a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes or something like that. That's
which gives more weight to my argument with Brock Purdy for MVP.
Yeah. Oh no.
I want to support the guy. He's doing awesome. He's Big 12 alum.
They lost 3 in a row for a reason. That's because Deebo Samuel was out.
Yeah. Deebo is the MVP of that team. And if that team is the top team in the NFL, he is the top MVP.
Yeah. And this argument, and I was talking about Tyreek the same way. And
exactly.
Tonight shows exactly why.
Yeah.
As soon as Tyreek went out, they were suspect.
Yeah. And even then before, like their defense was pretty sus, and offense just kind of off and on. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what it is with them. I mean, I know, the media pundits, they're always talking about how, well, they just can't win against the big teams. But they're a better team than that. Not sure what's going on there, but anyways, yeah. So kind of looking at it. So still sticking with the wild card. Patriots are eliminated 3-10. Ezekiel Elliott coming off a hot game. Are you playing him next week?
Sure. If Ramondre's not playing.
Yeah. And then on the NFC side, oh crap.
No Panthers.
Exactly. I was going to say, like, are you playing anybody from the Panthers?
No, I wasn't playing anybody from the Panthers to begin with. At the beginning of week 1, they're like, you play him? Like, no. Well, he was great at the beginning of the season, which is pretty much.
No, he was great for 3 weeks. Like week, like 4, 5, and 6, maybe.
The ice baths are melted, basically, at that point.
But the next on the chopping block, the Cardinals, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyler Murray, Hollywood, not so Hollywood Brown.
No, I have him on my. He was better at the beginning of this. No, just no. I'm out of the tight end. The tight end.
Hurts.
No, Hurts is trying to find another team. He was. I don't know if he's back on the team or not. Was he top 10 this week? No, but there's a tight end for the Cardinals, but the only one that
McBride. McBride was the one that
McBride is the only Cardinal that I would look at this point. Connor, maybe. If you have no other option, I would do James Conner.
I am not seeing McBride on these charts.
He might have not played. He might have got hurt. I don't know. But McBride was the only Cardinal that was least consistent.
Yeah, they're for a few weeks for sure. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Anyways, anything else for the wild card, bud? What else you got?
No. Well, I mean, pretty much just stay the course, at least for the next week. But look in the future, but not too much. Again, stick with what you got. Like if you have Christian McCaffrey, stick with Christian McCaffrey. If you have a player that sucks and sucks, look at and you have McCaffrey, maybe stash a player. But the only team that you should stash is the Niners at this point, because I don't look at this Ravens schedule. I don't see them wrapping up anything. I don't see anyone in the AFC wrapping up anything. It's
no, yeah, it's going to go down to the wire.
Yeah. As far as division, but I'm sorry I'm talking about the number 1 seed. Like, I don't see the Ravens wrapping up anything. The Eagles have a really they play the Giants, Cardinals, Giants. The last 5 games are according to where the Eagles should be. They have a very solid schedule to where they could now. I don't. The 49ers should wrap it up, but the Eagles have the Giants, Cardinals, Giants, Commanders, and then I forget the last team in their next 5 weeks. They have a very solid schedule, whereas the Cowboys go on the road, I think, to Buffalo or Miami. Then they have...
Yeah, you guys got Buffalo, then the Dolphins.
Then
Lions, and then Commanders.
Yeah, so the next...
So you got a bye week on the last week.
Right, so but yeah. But still, it's that the next 2 weeks, like, Buffalo is Buffalo. Miami, they took if Tyreek should be healthy by that week. So
yeah,
it's
as long as into the major for sure. Yeah.
Right, now we should beat the Commanders, because again, unless your name is Brian Robinson, don't start a Commander. I like Brian Robinson a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I know I was kind of make a joke of it, calling him Bijan or calling Bijan Brian. But yeah, no, I mean, he's been solid.
Yeah.
Talking about Tyreek Hill, 313 points, fantasy points on the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's number 2. Number 1 is a quarterback. What quarterback is that off the top of your head?
Crap. It's not CJ Stroud.
Josh Allen.
Yeah. He's gotten hot like the past 3 weeks.
Yeah. Annoyingly as fuck, because I have Diggs. Diggs isn't hot. And he's not consistent. But also neither is Allen.
But here's also how I know fantasy football is because the top 3, and here's how the computers know fantasy football, unfortunately. The top 3 most consistent picks of any fantasy league were Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and Christian McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. The only reason Justin Jefferson is not in the top 3 of those players is because of injury. He was on pace to do just as much as just Tyreek Hill and Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, yeah.
So
you're not wrong at all. But even then, I mean, say he did more than Allen at this point, McCaffrey would be number 4, right?
Yeah,
so
McCaffrey's right there.
I don't know, man. I mean, as annoying as it is, and not that I don't like Allen or Buffalo or anything of that nature, but it's just they had such a rocky start, and it still seems like they're just kind of wavering. I mean, his overall fantasy, output. I mean, because he's had a couple of 40 games.
New offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, new offensive coordinator. But I just kind of jump at the top of the year. 12 points, 23, 22, 36, 28, 14, 25, 30, 25, 16, 23, 40, and 21. I mean, he had the 40 was definitely the ceiling. But I mean, 12 points is not ideal, but it's definitely not the worst. Looking at you, Patrick Mahomes, definitely not the worst, top quarterback pick as far as fantasy output, man. But
no, he's the number 1 fantasy quarterback. He was for a reason.
He's number 1 fantasy player
right
now.
But the thing is, he's a quarterback compared to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Right. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, the point differential is a little bit different.
I mean, look at Dak Prescott's number 2.
That was a dumb statement, but yeah.
Yeah. Dak Prescott's number 2. So yeah.
No, he's number 3 as a quarterback. Yeah, Jalen Hurts has 302 points.
Oh, yeah. The Tush Push King. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, Tush Push King, but also the consistency king. Prescott didn't do shit for the beginning of the year. and they kind of lit up kind of in the
That's why me and my fantasy partner were like, all right, who has CeeDee Lamb, who has Dak Prescott, because they are hotter than a multi-picker goat right now.
You know who's after Prescott, the quarterback, and actually the overall top 10?
Is it Brock Purdy?
He is there. He's close to it. Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy. Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. It's just like
CJ Stroud has to be right below them. Like, he's gone off this year.
He's a little bit ways down. You know who's above him in the quarterback standing? Sam Howell. Howell is higher than Stroud.
It's probably because of the rushing yards.
Howell 251 points and Stroud 248.
Howell
has 243 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely insane. Allen has 374 rushing. Hurts 460, but just Howell for being a no name to start the year. But anyways, man. So I think that kind of wraps up the. Sorry, I messed that one up. That wraps up the wild card. We'll fix that in post, right? We're not live.
We're not live at all.
You wouldn't know it because nobody's commenting, but
yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, league scores.
I think we just need to do R2, and then we're good because that's pretty much the playoffs, right?
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. I mean, we're already at an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But hey, if you guys are watching, by the way, still later on in life, we very much appreciate you. I'm Tvshka. This is Josh. We are with Ruckus Entertainment and Variety. So find us at Ruckus EV anywhere you find us in the socials and Streamlabs as well as the Patreon.com. So, but yeah, man. I mean, for the league, man. I mean, it's heartbreaking, but I mean, we do have to at least kind of come through this. Kind of starting from the top. You have Tar Heel for Life, 11-2, 146.24 points, beating Team Saquon Barkinsdale, our guest from last week, and our lawyer that's on retainer. So don't fuck with us because we got somebody that'll help. But no,
don't fight the law because we got the law.
Yeah, the law's on our side. But who else you want to fuck with is fucking Tar Heel for Life, man.
Yeah.
I hate it that he is this good at fantasy football, or you know what, just lucky as fuck.
We knew it was going to happen with the freaking punt return to win in overtime for the New York Jets in week 1.
Yeah,
it's kind of
You're not wrong. Dude,
the narrative of the season.
Oh my God. I mean, you're bringing back devils and demons, but you're not wrong, man. That was an omen for sure.
Yeah.
Because he did not deserve that win.
No.
But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those weeks. I mean, they, fairly evenly matched. One of the, they had Mostert, Barkley, Henry Etienne. That's kind of a wash. Evans, 1.8. I mean, for Jason, I mean, it didn't matter because Amon-Ra St. Brown, big winner, on the week, or not on the week, on the year, a lot of times, only 5 points. And then Devontae Smith, only 10 points, but also matched Tyreek Hill, who actually did leave early. Only 10 points there. He got 14 points from Travis Kelce, which is in the red, but really for this year, 15 points is good for Travis Kelce compared to Everett. But God, DJ Moore. I mean, that was the big spender. That was the big difference right there. Head to head with Ayuk in the flex, 16 points. Because he had, for some reason, he had Noah Brown in. I thought, was Brown injured before?
He's just being cocky at this point.
Right? I mean, is he trying to pull a Roca, a.k.a. Super Bowl Sammy, and just, hey, I'm not going to play people. I'm going to flex on you.
I'm in the playoffs. Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, that
called
was a big
seeding,
one.
Guys. Play for pride.
Yeah. Play for pride. But you know what, man? Who kicked for pride? Fucking Aubrey, dude. So Jason has Aubrey, 22 points. I mean, You take 10 points of that away. 12 points for a kicker is pretty incredible. But yeah, I mean, his players just showed up. I mean, Prescott was leaving, didn't have a great game, but Tua had a worse game. And you had the injury to Tyreek Hill. I mean, that really kind of messed up a lot of the Dolphins, which for some reason, Team Saquon Barkley kind of hinges a lot of his bets on the Dolphins and the Chargers, which is not working out for him. But jumping over to the other top team, which actually would be Olave Garden. I was thinking it was going to be a Team Super Bowl Sammy, but Olave Garden, 10-3. 124.62 against the Reckless, who was 112, 106.16. Reckless actually had a pretty good showing from Stafford, Eckler, and Mixon. So looking at that, it looks like that would be great, but Higby was out tight end, so he didn't switch him. So that's a big bust, as well as McCall Hardman. He left in the flex, who's been out for 2 weeks. So that's just one of the things. I mean, you can't give up on the season or the league, and you've got to participate if you want to not only win but also get in the playoffs. And if you don't make the playoffs, maybe stick around for next year. So because he had Baker Mayfield, scoring 20 points on the bench, but didn't beat out Stafford. But he's also got Richards still, which I believe is on IRR. But it doesn't show that. But yeah. But Olave Garden, I mean, even though his group didn't really show out too much, it's like those two empty positions can be pivotal because, I mean, it was 106 to 124. 124 kind of seems to be a little bit of a low point for Olave Garden because on average they're hitting 150.
It's kind of a low point for this week.
Yeah,
for a winner.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right on that actually. Yeah, very much a low point. Nope, GIF was the low point for the win by 1 point. Because GIF beat me. But anyways, going to Deck Lives Matter, who wins 148.04 to 143 against Team Super Bowl Sammy. So taking down the celebrity favorite and John Roca, adding an L to his column, man. So that's going to be an interesting wrinkle in there. And Dak did that with Patrick Mahomes only giving him 14.64. But to combat that, Jalen Hurts 8.88 points, man. I mean, that is rough. The worst showing on the entire season for Jalen Hurts, for sure. His Hurts hurt.
And CJ Stroud got hurt, so he had 3.64 on the bench. So
yeah, right, yeah.
Now, if he would have started Reed,
yeah, I mean, tell me, but not knowing the point total, who would you put Reed in?
I wouldn't put Jalen Reed in over his other people. No.
Yeah,
that's the Rashad White thing that I've dealt with for the first 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, because CeeDee Lamb and Kyren Williams in his flex, even though they're in the red, they actually got him 19 points and 14 points. Ingram, I mean, definitely the star of his show this week, getting 13.5. Sutton has actually been a sneakily really good pickup for him.
I mean, the Broncos are just hitting their stride.
Yeah, I fucking hate it, but it's good for him. I mean, because he picked him up, I think maybe week 8 or 9, and since then,
back of the Chiefs.
But you can shush your mouth. But yeah, I mean, Dak Lives Matter having James Cook, right? So speaking of Chiefs, him running all over them and pass catching all over them for a touchdown. 25 points, definitely giving a big boost to them. But then also, then it's Hopkins, man. I mean, returning from the grave, DeAndre Hopkins, 25 points. Back to 2017 stardom, right?
Because Will Levis does the F it. Hopkins is down there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, Bananarama. Definitely showed up for that one. Anything that you see? I mean, keys to victory other than Reed, maybe Rice or even Johnson. I mean, it's hard because you're not going to take out Lamb. I think Williams. You probably definitely. I mean, I probably would have put in Rice or Johnson as far as Deontay Johnson.
I mean, the thing is going to be going forward. It's going to be: do I start Jalen Reed or Cortland Sutton going forward for Super Bowl Sammy? Who do I start of those two? And it is going to be a head scratcher type of thing, because the rest of the team, you should be locked in. Don't switch, don't change, don't do anything. As long as Trevor Lawrence plays, Evan Ingram's a must start. Unless you think that there's a tight end that can do you better, because I just don't think there is going to be. He had 12 targets, yes, but with Christian Kirk out, there's a reason he got those targets, because Christian Kirk is out for the Jaguars. But I mean, he just got James cooked. This is what the James Cook that people were expecting from the beginning of the season, and it just.
Even last year, I mean, he didn't really show up like this.
Yeah. Well, he was a rookie, and the Bills don't like to give the ball to a running back anyway.
Yep.
And Josh Allen would typically poach those touchdowns, kind of like Jalen Hurts does for DeAndre Swift. That's why DeAndre Swift is just not very good right now. It's nothing against DeAndre Swift. But that's just kind of what I see there, is that he's going to have going forward of who do I start, Cortland Sutton or Jalen Reed going forward, because Jalen Reed has been pretty. I mean, let me click on that. I got to see because I thought Jalen Reed's been pretty decently consistent for what he's done.
I mean, maybe the last few weeks.
Well, I mean, he went 19, 15, 5, and then 20. So I understand why.
Yeah.
He dropped off, but they have Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay is not the best defense ever.
Yeah, they got Tampa Bay, they got Carolina, Minnesota, and Chicago.
Technically, you would start Cortland over them because he is a better typical receiver. They got Detroit, so at Detroit, again, this is the conundrum that he has, is who do you go with? Because Jalen Reed also gets end arounds, and he gets a lot of rushing. They'll do end arounds and stuff with him too. So, I don't know. That's other than that, he's got a pretty solid. I mean, I don't think that that's going to be the make or break like it was this week of his team, because I think he's going to be pretty solid going forward anyway with CD and Christian McCaffrey, and typically Jalen Hurts. But that's the only question mark that he should have. He should not shuffle the rest of his lineup at all going forward, in my opinion. But what do I know? I'm out of the playoffs.
Yeah, you're out of the playoffs. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, man.
Just a defending champ. No big deal.
That's per his words. So
I'm just defending. Me and Sol are just defending champs. No big deal.
Yeah. But anyways, I mean, kind of moving on because we don't want to keep giving him advice. But yeah, I mean, with that, then we come to the middle of the pack, man. I mean, 4 teams battling for the last spot. Let's start with yours, because the ultimate winner did not come from this game.
No.
But yeah, I mean, you won your game though. I mean, very, handfully, as far as, by 24 points, 154.72 to 121.96. Justin Fields, man, it's a good thing you didn't take your own advice and drop him in week 4, like you said you would.
I never said that. Don't look back at the tape.
Hibernation.
I said everyone except for Justin Fields.
No, you did not.
I said everyone except for Justin Fields. I am still holding out. I said, and because I said this one matchup is a make or break. If he doesn't go off, then he's not going to be it. And what happened? He went off.
Anyways, you folks can look back at the tape, because clearly I even reiterated, I'm like, okay, so you're going away from everybody on the Bears. They're in hibernation. Yeah. And I was like, hey, but he has a player himself, so he will live up to his word, because he's his word is his bond, and he's a man of his word.
I made a bad draft pick, okay?
That did happen, but what did happen was Rashad White getting 21.5 points.
Yeah.
And then Cooper Kupp coming back and getting 25.5 in your flex.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man, that's just disrespectful.
That's why he went off. because he knows he was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Well, maybe keep him
that,
in your flex.
that kid from Nashville that's 36 years old is disrespecting me in his fantasy team. Hey,
Yeah.
Matt, throw me the ball.
Yeah,
Give
bet.
me the rock.
Oh, sorry, guys. But yeah, I mean, keys to victory. I mean, your guys showed up. I mean, because Smith and Jigba, who wrecked me last week, thanks Shrinerks, didn't do shit this week. And Najee Harris, kind of the same story. Laporta, very much the same story, because he came out for 29-point manslaughtering of my
Shout out
team.
to Shriners putting Josh Allen on your bench and Zay Flowers on your bench, bud. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Massive right there. 21.52 points from Josh Allen.
And also starting Brian Robinson, who's on a bye.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Because with this, I mean, 4 points was the difference. And it could have been a different player. Wish you would have done that last week, Shrinerks. Wish you wouldn't have tried last week. Or your team. Because they defeated me and they knocked me down a peg, which put me into the murder row and going against GIF. You want to take this one away because I'm about to punch something in the face.
Yeah, so Jared Goff only had 8 points. Brock Purdy had 22. So
yeah,
that was good.
I thought that. I was like, dude, I got this.
Devon Achane, 12 points. Not too shabby, but nothing to go home about.
Right, and it's not 30 points like he averages.
But Josh Jacobs got hurt. Only got 7 points. Tony Pollard, he had 16. He hadn't done that all season. Zach Moss, because he's in for the injured Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
But the Colts suck. Again, he's only got 9 points.
Well, Jamar Chase. Apparently he left his magic back there in November.
Jamar Chase and Stephon Diggs had a phone call. They said, hey, let's not do shit this week. And they agreed. Puka Nacua. Right. I guess you're welcome, GIF. I gave you your best receiver on your damn team.
Mm-hmm.
And Nico Collins got hurt. So that's pretty much the tail of the tape there. TJ Hawkinson was TJ Hawkinson. Kincaid was fine as far as the tight end is concerned. He only had.
He was good considering there was another tight end in the fucking picture. That was his starter.
Yeah. He got the Toby Keith, Ezekiel Elliott this week. So
yeah, well, he also got a little bit questionable.
But hey, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
But no, it basically came down to the fact that Nico, Stephon Diggs, and Josh Jacobs all got nothing compared to what they're supposed to do. Zach Moss.
Right. But Jacobs and Collins getting injured.
Yes. Jacobs and Collins getting injured. Stephon Diggs being absent when Josh Allen went off. And
which
Zach Moss
is not anything new.
No.
3 of the last 4 weeks, right? Other than them getting 19.4 against Philly, as far as Diggs, 6.4, 6.4, 6.7.
Yeah.
Like, that is not the Diggs that we know. And that's what pisses me off. That's why I hate Josh Allen being the number 1 producing fantasy player on the year right now. And the number 1 producing fantasy quarterback. Because he's not producing shit for Diggs, man. Can you help your brother out here? I mean, the Chiefs defense was doing quite a bit to help you all out. So were the refs. And so was the Chiefs offense by being incredibly inept in the first half. Because they got the memo. Hey, you guys aren't doing anything second half. Okay, cool. We'll do stuff in the second half, just not the first. Like we can't do 2 halves put together. But yeah, no, absolutely aggravating in that. Because when I needed the fucking team, when I needed to get points, and I only needed to get 123 points. Done that before, right? Pretty easy. I think everybody in this league has gotten 123 points before. I can't even break fucking 100, man. Couldn't even break fucking 100. And you know what the kicker is? It's not a kicker, right? But it's a running back. It's Ezekiel Elliott. That's the motherfucker.
27
that ruined
points
me.
from Ezekiel Elliott. Like
27 points on a
This is-
Thursday night fucking game. And it's like, that's how it started. And I was like, this is not great. Because yeah, I was going to pick him up. I kind of slept on it a little bit because I was tinkering with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I was like, well, if I make the playoffs, then maybe this could be a good pickup if he goes off. And yeah, I just thought a little bit too far ahead. I picked a contingency for next week instead of being super aggressive this week, because even if you look in the waivers, I didn't have anything on Tuesday night. You know what I mean? So yeah, just a bad week. A good week personally. Just a shit fucking week as far as fantasy. But with that, our playoffs are set, man. Our playoffs are set.
Yeah, our playoffs are set, and I so in first place in the 1 seed will be Tar Heel for life. It looks like in Olave Garden will be our number 2 seed.
Yeah.
At 9 and 5 would be Super Bowl Sammy. This one guy named John Roca, who knows who he is.
Yeah. His name's Jonathan, but he doesn't want to go by that. It's weird.
John L. Roca. I don't know if his middle name is L, but I'm just going to go with it.
Well, it was L this week.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I just did that high pitch L. Yeah, but anyway. And then let's see. Our other one will be Dak Lives Matter. You come in at the 4 seed. 5 seed will be Team Saquon Barkinsdale. Asshole. But yet, we pay you a lot of no money to keep you on retainer.
A lot of no money. I love it. It's no me, not
as far
money,
as I,
but no me.
Yeah, and as far as I know, based off of the tiebreaker that I looked up because I could not find how our tiebreakers work, great commissioning job there, would be GIF Blackpool Combat Club.
Yep.
So good luck, peoples, gentlemen. I don't know who all of you are. Most of you I do. But me and Tvshka will be on the outside looking in, possibly flipping you the bird and wishing you no luck. But also, congratulations for making it this far. Thank you so much for all of your contributions to this great league that we enjoy so much, that we do a weekly show about and then cry about our teams and go on tilt about for the rest of the week. And yeah, so there you go.
I'm excited for it. So we won't do it just yet. Well, actually, we may have to, because next week they do start. Do we want to do any kind of like brackets? I mean, we want to figure anything. Maybe do bracket bitches or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We might throw it out there in the chat in our league and see if somebody, maybe the number 1 seed, who thought he was wrongfully taken away from winning the title last year, even though someone died on the football field for it. But you can still gripe about someone dying on the football field, and that's why you lost. But it's fine.
Yeah. Absolutely inhumane. Just strip him of it now. Exactly. But no, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting for sure. Kind of with that. I mean, he has been the heavy favorite all year, even though he should have started off with a loss.
He should have started off with a loss. He got the worst loss of the season.
Oh my God! Right?
He got clearly
that was the refs
loss.
making up the call right there.
Yeah, that was the refs making up the call if I've ever seen one. That was the worst loss I've ever seen in fantasy football history. Because Super Bowl Sammy, as we know, has who knows Super Bowl Sammy knows that he has a lot going on in his life. So the fact that he's able to set a lineup, at least 13 out of the 14 weeks is good. And that 13th week, whatever that week was, that he forgot to set a lineup and had 4 players on bye or like 2 hurt, whatever it was. 4 players didn't contribute jack crap. Still won the game.
Yeah, still won. I mean, and I think it was actually more like week 10 or something. It's not letting me jump to it, but yeah, man. I mean, it's and then after that you got Dak Ellis Matter, and then you got GIF in the mix. I mean, does GIF even have a chance? Record wise,
if you have a seat at the table, as long as you got to quote the late great Doyle Brunson, who is one of the best, who is the GOAT of all, like the old G's of poker players. As long as you got a chip in a chair, you got a chance.
Yeah,
and he has a chip in a chair.
Yeah, he has a chip and a chair, and he does have a chance. Golf, even though it's been golfful lately, he can go golf. Achan, I mean, 12 points is probably his floor. So you're still sitting pretty fucking good with
as long as Tyreek Hill is going to be healthy next week, Achan will be fine. It all depends on Tyreek Hill. As we saw tonight, Tyreek Hill was gone about 75% of the game, and they were not good.
Yeah. Right. And that's in-game adjustments. So maybe a week of, maybe they can work on a little bit of contingency. But yeah, Pollard, Chase, Nakua, Hawkinson, now Elliott, all right, throwing Cooper with, Flacco, the wacko that's just been coming out of a grave and actually showing up. It could happen. It could happen. But we'll see. And we will see you all next time on next week's episode. Josh, any final thoughts before we peace out?
Yeah, we should have rigged this at the beginning. Pretty much.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We should have taken something from the NFL. Right?
We should have taken something from the NFL. Any donations, Streamlabs, super chats that the league mates want to give us for focusing more on our show than our actual lineups. If you want to do that, and thank us for not actually paying attention to our team during the regular season. I'm just giving excuses at this point for us.
Hey, I'll take it because honestly, that's part of it.
Yeah. I mean, as
I'm looking at stats, I don't have time to
Right. As Super Bowl Sammy says, you all run this, you all run this show, and you are not in the playoffs. Well, you know what? Because we care about the show. So what do you want?
Yeah.
All right. We're trying to highlight this league that we love so much.
That's right.
And we put so much time and effort to our show. And negate our team, maybe? I don't know. Again, I have to talk to my president.
Yeah. The two. But also, I want to talk in the future. And the future is next Monday night, man. You guys have a great one. All of us at Ruckus EV Everything. And we'll see you next Monday.